Hello, and welcome to this, the first of my video casts. Being the first, it's likely to be a bit ragged around the edges. My name is Dennis Winters. I'm a landscape architect, and through my studio, Tales of the Earth, here in Toronto, I've been engaged with the design and making of gardens for meditation, and writing about the sacred landscapes that have inspired them. Each of these videocasts will take us through a trajectory of provocative questions about the magic and mystery of sacred landscapes, about how the magic and mystery captivate us, energizing feelings and thoughts, attending the spiritual dimensions of life. This particular videocast is called Georgia O'Keeffe and Spirituality of the Sexually Charged Landscape. Yes, quite a title. Provocative, yes. Pornographic, not at all. Viewer discretion, not necessary. As I've presented it to scholars and practitioners involved with architecture and spirituality at Georgia O'Keeffe's Ghost Ranch in New Mexico, and at academic symposia on spirituality and religious studies at Oxford University. As well, the expansion of the talk was taken from the Oxford Symposium and published in the book Exploring Sexuality and Spirituality by the distinguished academic press publishers. After watching, guaranteed, you'll never look at landscape the same way again. So we will go to screen share. PowerPoint. Slideshow. Play from start. And here we go. Divinity may be all around us. Even so, not all landscape is created equally. Some places simply stand out, a distinct form in space, or distinct space surrounded by form. Some seem about to proposition me. My close encounters with sexually charged landscape flights more than fancy. It isn't a sweetened, sanitized Mother Earth metaphor that intrigues me. Rather, it's a trajectory of provocative questions. What I feel about them, why I feel what I feel, and how I can use it. Here, this videocast provides the perfect opportunity to go more deeply into the mantra messing with my mind. Landscape is all about sex. Curious how it unfolds, unbridled, naked, a gritty container of worms and holes. To clarify, this isn't about Georgia O'Keeffe. We'll be talking more about Georgia O'Keeffe in the second videocast. Here, it's that her landscape paintings provide a platform for aesthetic departure and inspiration. Ghost Ranch Cliff, Black Place, and the waterfalls of Iao Valley. Sculpted, sensuous contours, curving V-shaped topography, the unrestrained metaphysical passion of nature, asking, refined geological formations, or an outpouring of sexual juices, loamy hungers of the flesh, as Lewis Mumford wrote, one long, loud blast of sex. The sexually charged landscape speaks a many-splendored theme, beckoning me to its erotic shapes and spaces remarkably similar to human sexual organs. Caves and crevices conspicuously sculpted like vaginas. Shrub-covered valleys like mounds of pubic hair. Smoothly sloped mountains rising like prominent breasts, and rock obelisks like erect penises. This raw sexual power, the play of male and female consorts of cosmic consciousness and natural process, exciting me in ways I don't quite understand. Here, in the Buddhist desire realm, sexually charged male and female landscape geometry isn't new. Edmund Burke's 18th century aesthetics, merely expressed, was already acknowledged. Sublime male-driven linearity pirouetting with beautiful female-driven curves. Upright male and recumbent female stones at Kyoto's Ryogen-in garden. The Renaissance clarity of Villa Gamberaia, tethered to the Nymphaeum cave, its fruitful erotic deity birthing the garden's life force from the uterus of Earth. Paul Shepard's Cross Valley Syndrome, a pedagogically priggish term linking geomorphology and psychology, likened a river's breaching a mountain barrier to passage through a valley into soft and voluptuous enchantment. Why? Because people mentally transform earth parts into human body parts. An anthropologist's probe of flirting with boulders in Yosemite, pregnant with possibilities, gives credence to the phrase, getting your rocks off. Perhaps, for even John Muir was charged by an erotic Yosemite during his first summer in the Sierra. Why this urge? Is sexually imagery programmed? Buddhists suggest it's pre-primal. The sutra called Teaching Nanda about entry to the womb and the Kalachakra Tantra present the bardo, the extremely subtle consciousness migrating the intermediate state between lifetimes, compulsively focused on the sex organs of a couple so engaged with whom there's a karmic connection. The primal desire for one, an equally strong aversion for the other, determining sex for the subsequent lifetime. Wondering, was Freud completely out of line? I hear Carl Jung say, how few things there are that cannot be reduced to sex. Call it libido or primordial psyche. That sexual drive is our own soul. It makes life proceed. It's the love for life, for the beautiful, for the impulse to make good and avoid the not so good. It's for Soan Ozeki's I am alive. I am this moment. My future is here and now. to place who I am and where I am in the world. Mind as sex. Now, this mind as sex has a visual expression. Expressed where? Right here in the diversity of landscape. And that expression, says Jung, takes form as none other than the phallus. And the expression of the natural order of life, creativity, and transformation is the vagina. Right here in landscape, in the sharp descriptive landmarks that are male, like sheer cliffs emerging from the prairies, in evocative continuity, like ever folding fields of flowers, that's female. Sex as landscape. I hear James Hillman question the boundary between my psyche and the psyche of the earth. I hear William Blake and Merleau-Ponty and Paul Brunton and René Magritte say, you see sex outside yourself, even though it's only a mental fabrication of the sex you experience inside. I hear Soto Zen Master Dogen say, I came to realize that the sexually charged mind is none other than mountains and rivers and the great earth. Is all this a delusion? Here, the Buddhist compendium of ways of knowing has me question the validity of appearing objects. Hence, Georgia O'Keeffe responds to my fantasies. My paintings erotic? No way. That's something you yourself put into them. When you read erotic symbols into my paintings, you're really talking about your own affairs. Surely you jest, I snicker. Will landscape allow deeper access? I'm struck by those equating landscape and divinity. Plotinus said, all the beauty and good of this world comes by communion with divinity. Dionysius Areopagite said, the whole of nature moves together as divine revelation in rest and motion, brought into existence through the beautiful and the good. Jung said, it seems to me that the high mountains, rivers, lakes, trees, flowers, and animals far better exemplify the essence of God than the clergy. Here's mind as sex, as landscape, as divinity, spicing up its contrarian interpretation of our affairs. That it's been the sexual prowess of the earth, waters, and skies cultivating everyday perceptions, not the other way around. And taking us through the sublime and the beautiful, through the making, abiding, and coming apart. It's divine imagery gloriously presenting landscape's teachings on her sensuality, revealing her most private parts. Nature's purpose all along has been to illuminate our providence as sexual beings, rather than succumbing to allegorical anthropomorphizing of hills and valleys as sexual body parts. Perhaps it's that the earth divine has ecopomorphized human beings. That's a thought. Georgia O'Keeffe merely painted landscape in all its divine erotic fullness, unbound wonder and reverence, naked in the worship of topography, color, and texture, so that in its midst, your belly goes wicked. As landscape once again has its way with us, how deeply can this go? What would Georgia O'Keeffe do with it? A Tibetan Buddhist text says, "For those not on spiritual paths, places provoke raw, undisciplined passion. To aberrant mind, landscape is just earth, stone, water, and trees. To mistaken intellects, it appears as solid, inanimate objects. To practitioners, it appears with no intrinsic value, intrinsic nature. To pure vision, it is a celestial palace full of deities to realization, the radiant luminosity of innate awareness. And among the signs of confidence that a landscape is truly a secret place are self-arisen landforms as penises and vaginas, signs that it is home to divinity. Divinity. I hear Tom Berry say, "Step carefully, for this is the kind of landscape where we are most aware of being present in the universe, where we are most ourselves in our relationship with others." Skipping over Taoist and Native American landscapes of cavorting female and male animation of earth, waters, and skies, right to the juicy parts, where the Hindu tantric landscape energizes O'Keeffe with licentious divinity. Cosmic rhythm Prakriti animating as female yoni, united with primordial consciousness Purusha, arising as male erect lingam, they're uniting, producing life force prana, manifesting as form and space, the continuum of creating, abiding, and dissolving. Spiritual geography painted as physical geography, 51 body parts of Sati's cosmic and natural rhythm materialized through Shiva's dance of dissolution as 51 sacred landscapes. Of the 51, Kamakhya in Assam state is her vagina, where a stone in a natural cave at the peak of the mountain of love is moistened by a natural spring and turns red like menstrual blood when mineral deposits are flushed out by monsoon rains. As a Hindu tantrika, O'Keeffe's inner body becomes indivisible with landscape through yogic sex harnessed in its most creative ways. A self-portrait. Here, in the Buddhist center of cosmology, the Vajrayana landscape energizes Georgia O'Keeffe as Heruka and Vajravarahi, embodiment of luminosity and knowing in tantric embrace. Channels radiate from 8 spokes of their heart chakra to 24 component parts of their body. These body parts correspond to a mandala of 24 external sacred landscapes. Their sexual organ is Pretapuri in Western Tibet. With its 1,100,000 erotic Dakinis, Vajravarahi's wisdom massages the power of this place. Delicious? How Georgia O'Keeffe could use it. I hear my teachers say that next to dying, sex with an actual consort in advanced spiritual practice is a most potent force for navigating through life, because it can transform ordinary paroxysms of afflictive emotions into spiritual realization. With a firm foundation, sex with a spiritual consort, fair-featured, large-eyed, and adorned with youth and beauty, can produce strong mental focus and prolong deep states of consciousness needed to simulate the indivisible tantric embrace of luminosity and knowing. Spiritual geography transformed into physical geography. O'Keeffe paints Vajravarahi's sexual parts as geomorphology, her ovaries as Lake Manasarovar and Raksas Tal upstream, her fallopian tubes as braining stream beds, her uterus as the widening valley, her labia as valley walls where sensitive nerve endings are the self-appeared images of stone, her clitoris as the alluvium where we'd placed our first campsite, her vagina as Paul Shepard's Cross Valley Syndrome, the breached rock escarpment where she'd orgasmically explode into the broad, majestic valley. Heruka's semen is painted as the absence of suffering and non-duality, a self-portrait. Here, contemplating the indivisibility of subject, action, and object, questioning if the sexually charged landscape merely serves as background to the provocative act, or as the actual consort itself. O'Keeffe, with her embraced, meditate. We are Heruka and Vajravarahi, spiritual landscape and tantric couple as one. We generate inner abdominal heat, hold orgasm at our tips, focus on the central channel, the indestructible drop at the heart, and realize the awakened nature of the mind, infinitely prolonging creativity and beauty in each moment. Obviously, this isn't like ordinary sex. It certainly isn't ordinary landscape. Because sacred landscape is as the awakened mind. Luminosity and knowing is as earth, waters, and skies. Georgia O'Keeffe repaints her self-portrait, her awakening mind as sexual union as purified landscape, purified landscape as spiritual realization as sexual union, mind as sex, as landscape, as divinity, highly charged transactions with spirituality, then re-questioning freshly sexual juices or spirituality as landscape. Thank you very much. So if you are interested in this topic, if you wish to follow up, please contact me, Dennis Winters, talesoftheearth.com, with my email address just below. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.